Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra Unit 9 review. This is video number 3. I am on the back page, so hopefully you guys are there too. If you need to watch any of the other videos or other pages, please look at video 1 for page 1 and video 2 for page 2. Alright, graph each piecewise function for the given domain values, then identify its domain and range. Alright, let's look at the first one. First one, I'm going to graph in blue. First thing I notice about this is that there's a reflection and it's a quadratic, okay? So if it's a reflection and a quadratic, that means that it's going down. And then my vertex is going to be -2, 1. Okay, remember that we take the opposite of the number in parentheses and the number outside stays the same. Okay, let's go ahead and graph this. But before I graph it real quick, I'm going to notice that my limit is at x is less than or equal to 0. Okay, so that means I'm only want things to the left of this line. Okay, so at -2, 1, here's my first point, down 1 over 1, down 3, 1, 2, 3 over 1. And see, that's right on the line, so this is the last point I'm going to do. But since it's less than or equal to, that means it's going to be closed. Okay? And then I'm going to put my other 2 dots down. And as I'm drawing this to the right, I don't get to put an arrow. And that's because of the line. But to the left, it keeps going. Okay? All right. Next graph's going to be red. My next graph is linear. Okay? And the things we need for a linear equation, we need the slope. The slope is 3 over 2. And then our y-intercept is 0, -5. Okay? And the limit here is also 0. And this time we want greater, so I only want things to the right. Okay? But what am I going to do since my first point is on the y-axis? What do we do? It's at -5. Well, it's greater, so that means I just do a open circle. And now we follow the slope. I only want things to the right, so I go up 3, 1, 2, 3, over 2. 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 And then use your ruler or an ID. It's hard for me to do this on my computer. And draw your arrow, because that keeps going. Okay? And there we go. Now, we need our domain. Are there any limits from the left to the right? Okay, that's the horizontal, your x. No, there's not, because the only limit would be right there, but then the other point fills that in. Okay, so there's no limits, there's no break in the graph, so it's all real numbers. What about the y? Well, if you look, our parabola is going down, and our linear equation is going all the way up. So there are no limits for the y either. So that's going to be all real numbers. All right, let's look at 14. First graph in blue, what type of function is that? What type of graph is it going to be? Well, it's absolute. Is there a reflection? So that means my absolute graph will be going up. And then my vertex is 1, 5. And then let's pay attention to that limit. That limit is at 3. And it's less than, so I only want things to the left. All right, let's start graphing. I'm going to start at 1, 5. And remember that we go up one, over one, up. Ooh, my opener closed. Open. Okay, and then we're just going to continue to the left and then draw our line. Make sure that that looks like a perfect V. And there we go. All right, what about the bottom? Well, that's a square root. Good. So is there a reflection? Nope. So it's going to be going up and to the right. My vertex is at 3, 3. And our limit is x is greater than or equal to 3. So I'm going to want everything greater, which is to the right. So our first point is at 3, 3. So 3, 1, 2, 3, open or closed. And it's going to be closed because it's greater than or equal to. And then I go up 1, right 1, up 1, right 3. And then I draw the arrow. There we go, that's what we get. So let's look at the domain. From left to right, are there any horizontal breaks? No, same thing as last one where the only real break that we have is right there, and those 2 points fill it in, so we're good. So that means that x is all real numbers. Now, what about the range? What about our y? Well, this is telling me that I keep going up. The square root tells me that I keep going up. But what about down? Is there a limit to how low the graph goes? I don't see anything lower than that point. So what that means is there's a limit. And it's saying that y has to be greater than or equal to 3. All right, last graph. 15. What's the first one give us? What is that? Well, that's absolute. And remember, if there's nothing inside, it's saying that's x plus 0 to give us the other point for our vertex, okay? There's no reflection, so it's going up. And our vertex is 0, -2. Okay? Paying attention to our limit right there. It's a 2. And for this one, we want everything to the left because it's less than or equal to. Okay? So at 0, -2 is my first point. And then I go up 1, right 1, up, ooh, open or closed? Open. Okay, and then let's continue our graph in the other direction. I'm going to draw an arrow because it keeps on going. Okay, on the bottom we have a linear. Okay, so our slope is 1/2. And then our y-intercept is at 0, 1. Okay, so once again we're at 2. And we want everything to the right. Well, how am I going to do this? Because my vertex is at 0, 1, and I don't want this. Well, to help us draw the graph, I'm going to put it in there, and then we can erase it later. Okay? So we go up 1, over 2, and it's going to be closed on the line because it's greater than or equal to. And then I'm just going to keep following my slope. Up 1, over 2, up 1, over 2, up 1, over 2. And when I draw my line, I'm going to make sure that I do not include the y-intercept. And there's our graph. So the domain, there are no horizontal breaks. So x is all real numbers. What about our range? Is there a limit to how low it goes? Yeah, right there. There's nothing below that point. And so that's telling me that there's a limit. And y has to be greater than or equal to, it's greater than because everything's going up, greater than or equal to -2. All right, last one. Determine if the following relation is a function and defend your answer by using at least one complete sentence. Yes, we are making you write in math class. Okay, so what do you think? Function, yes or no? Well, remember, we've learned about the vertical line test, which states that you can draw a line if it only touches once, it passes. But if you draw a line and it touches twice, it fails. So this is not a function. All right. And what I would say is the relation is not a function. And now we have to defend it because it fails the vertical line test. And the vertical line test is what we used in question number 1 on the first page with those 4 graphs. Okay. Well, guys, that's it for Algebra Unit 9 review. Once again, if you need help with any of the other videos, please watch that or come see Ms. Carranza or myself. We would love to help you out. Otherwise, this is Mr. Grice signing off. Thanks for watching.